Hello, and welcome to Debate with Matthew. Today, we have 3 intelligent contestants. Well, maybe only 2 intelligent contestants. Brianna.
Wow. Back up.
Introduce yourself.
My name is Brianna Rodriguez.
Okay,
Oh.
your turn.
I'm debating on Selena Gomez because she rocks, and Lady Gaga and Dummy sucks. It's really crap.
So introduce yourself.
My name is Isaiah Montani.
Okay, that's all they want to hear. Introduce yourself.
I'm actually calling in.
Okay. Now, let's start the debate.
Okay, let me go. Okay, I want to debate on Selena Gomez because she's fierce. I'm going to debate Demi Lovato because she's amazing and she has an amazing voice, unlike some people. I'm going to debate Lady Gaga because she wears crazy clothes and it's like so cool. It's like so cool. It's no bait, not so bad. Whatever. Anyway, Selena Gomez is my role model. I mean, she is so much prettier and cooler and a better singer than Lady Gaga. Demi Lovato. Demi Lovato can hit them high as a note. Selena Gomez knows how to dress. You know what? She's like, weighs too much makeup. She wears lipstick. I saw the last music video she did. It was all crazy. She wears lipstick all the time. I saw Lady Gaga's outfit at the music videos. This is her. This is her. Yeah, she's like this. She looks like she has 47 bottles. Looks like it's Halloween all over again. Like, excuse me. At least Demi Lovato can sing that. They need to do the music and they need to.
Why does this always happen?
Demi Lovato's better. Go for Selena Gomez. Demi Lovato. Lady Gaga. Ew. Get out of here. Nobody wants to be a Lady Gaga. Looking like that. I'm looking like this Halloween. Okay.
This has been Debates with Matthew. And I want you, all of our viewers, to comment and
Vote for
send
Selena
Demi
Gomez.
Lovato. Demi Lovato.
Lady Gaga. I don't know.
You don't even know what I have to say.
Demi Lovato, Selena or Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga. Selena Gomez wears too much makeup.
Okay. Send in your comments. Send in your comments.
Shut up. Shut up. No, Lady Gaga looking like an astronaut at the music video. Shut up.
Now, you, the viewers, send in your comments to either Brianna with Selena Gomez, Isaiah with Lady Gaga, or Ashley with Demi Lovato. Which one had the best debate? We'll see you next time.
Can't sing.
Okay. We'll see you next time on Matthew, Demi Lovato, Selena Gomez.